Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today what we'll be doing is going through a psychiatry website, so another local business, and this company is based in New York. Bob is the doctor, and he reached out to me I reached out to him actually about running a kind of website audit, specifically for you guys to really learn how I actually would go through a website just by really looking at the site, okay, without any kind of audit sheet, any kind of guidance really. And at the end of the day, that's kind of really where you want to be. You want to be able to get to the point where you can almost on the spot be able to figure out what's going on and identify the issue. Obviously that'll take practice, but at the end of the day, this is what it's all about. You have to be able to become you have to kind of become the marketer, right? Not only are you thinking about specific technical SEO issues, like alt tags and meta descriptions and things, but it's also thinking about the marketing strategy as a whole, right? Now, starting off with a marketing strategy, if we're thinking about it, and we're thinking about this company as a whole and how they can actually improve their online presence, the first thing I'd always go with is, before a client, if a client is looking up your business, right, and it's something to do with therapy or any kind of medical clinic, there is an element of trust that goes beyond your kind of standard I don't know, moving company or electrician. They're trusting you with they're putting their health into your hands, right? So a lot of companies miss this, right, in terms of when thinking about their user and their user experience. Before they've even contacted you, what are they actually seeing online, right? Now, the first thing I wanted to go over is when you actually search up this company's brand name, what are we seeing? Okay, now one of the first things I wanted to mention is this Google My Business here. Now, as you know, if you are familiar with SEO, this Google My Business is a key driver for leads and website visits and things like that. But it's also an element where you can portray your trust, right? And the thing is if you're running an SEO campaign, it shouldn't just be about the website, right? It's a collective. It's the Google My Business, it's the different, the Yelp profiles, it's the social media, it's the other profiles that you can build online. There's a lot of different components that come with an SEO campaign, and that's why I kind of want to almost move it over to a digital marketing strategy or a digital marketing campaign, because at the end of the day, it's all about your online presence. And as Google's growing more and more towards providing information for users without them even visiting your website, providing that information quickly, like with the AI, when you write, I don't know, what is accelerated TMS therapy, they're providing that AI overview, right? Because they want they want users to be able to read what's happening before they've even, they make their mind up or get that answer before they've even visited the website. So it's really important that this kind of brand image is thought about, especially the Google My Business. Now, when I compare this Google My Business to this one here, what are the kind of key differences you're noticing, right? Now, one of the main things I would point out is the photos and the reviews, right? Now, these are the two key things that I would actually consider really when building out a Google My Business. So when you think about, let's start with reviews, right? So if I was to type up, let's just type up TMS Denver, right? It's another client I'm working with. When you look at all three of these businesses, what is the kind of, out of all three of these, which company are you more likely to pick on, right? The one with the most reviews and the highest rating, obviously, right? Because that's the one that's going to be, if you're putting your health in someone's hands, the reviews are so important. Now, I don't know how long this company's been around for, but that would be the first thing. Some kind of review generation strategy. And this could be, you know, sending out an email, right, and asking for reviews, not only for Google My Business, but for Yelp and for Facebook and any other kind of independent review rating service. So what you really want to happen is when you search up your business, you want this to come up with these reviews, but you also want, you know, as you can see here, clearly people are searching this up, and usually it's brand name reviews, brand name pricing. They're the two things people search up, and then obviously brand name. So when you type up Inspired TMS Denver reviews, you've got Google My Business reviews, you've got Yelp reviews, you've got a specific page on reviews on the website. We are still working on pushing the reviews to the Facebook, but it's kind of, you kind of see where I'm going with this, right? And this is really the kind of optimal outcome you want in terms of the online presence of your business. I mean, generally, the online reputation is probably one of the most important things. Like, that's pretty at the top in terms of your general, how do I say, your online, I guess you could say your online presence, but like when a customer is searching and looking at your company, the reviews are going to be the first thing that they're looking at. If I come across a business and their reviews are really bad, that's going to be the first, you know, top of my list, right, to assess, because, you know, especially with a medical clinic, you're not really going to get very far with bad reviews. So these guys have got a clean slate. Let's push those reviews. Now, the second thing would be the photos. I would look at getting some photos of some real people and not just the insides of the clinic. Now, this is very useful for people that are actually wanting to understand, you know, I don't know, the style of the clinic. You know, it really gives you a kind of nice feel of what to expect. Obviously setting that expectation, but who's actually running this place, right? Who's the doctor in charge of this? Who is the person I'm going to be speaking to? I can't see that anywhere on this profile. Now, when we come back here, that's the first thing that you'll see. You'll see the clinic, you'll see the doctor, you'll see the people. And if you want to go the extra mile, you can do kind of one of those inside, you know, walk-through clinic setups, right? And we've got videos as well, and we consistently upload more and more photos every month, or we try to anyway. So that will be the next thing. Now, talking about independent reviews on the site, we've spoken about that. The next thing will be really citations. Okay, so I'm not really reading from a general, you know, a checklist right now. I do have a checklist that I use, and if you'd like that, please just leave a comment in the video below and I can send it to you. But really, this is about eyeballing the business and actually speaking from a user's standpoint. Okay, I'm almost imagining myself if I was going to get, you know, therapy or some kind of medical service, what would I be considering? Okay, now what I'm about to talk about now is, yes, it's part of the user experience, but they're not going to be looking at this individually. This is more about the SEO. Now, when you go on this site here, in terms of citations or business directories, what I mean by that is getting your name, address and phone number consistently across the web. Now, we really want to see pages and pages of your brand name, because that shows that the citations or the business directories that you're building are actually indexing inside of Google. Now, we are seeing some, which is a good, really good sign, but it kind of falls off down here by page 3. It sort of starts to fall off a little bit. You know, we've got other kind of random sites now. Now, what the ideal situation would be is you want to see pages and pages and pages of your brand name, right? And that shows that, you know, most of these will have the name, address and phone number, but some of these will be videos, some of these will be social media posts, but that's kind of a good gauge of, you know, are the posts and are the, you know, the videos that we're uploading and the efforts that we're putting out, are they really being indexed by Google? I mean, that's kind of your first barrier to entry in terms of links, right? That's building those foundation links, you know, getting those pages up there. You know, you want I saw this earlier actually, which was brilliant. We've it kind of off the cuff here, but I mean, we're starting to see other companies linking to our business because of the content that we're developing, and this is also something you'll start to see, you know, in terms of brand names. And when you start building real content, useful content around specific questions others haven't answered yet, people will start linking to you, right? And you won't have to ask for it. You know, people will just be linking to you because you provide useful content, right? And this company's done this twice on their article. That'll be the next thing. So building those citations, and the service that we use in terms of business directories, they spin the description. So each description is unique on each directory, right? So each directory will then be indexed inside of Google. So that's kind of the sort of edge we have when we build the directories. Now, going into, one last topic as well. I wanted to just double check. If I was to type up reviews, what are we seeing? We're not seeing any. So that's one point. This is a test you can do for your own business as well. Type up reviews, type up pricing. Okay, yeah, so this is interesting. So they've provided information, but this isn't actually about the specific clinic that we're looking at. This is just general kind of average costs of therapy. Now this is good. I love, you know, it's obviously useful, but I want to know the pricing for this clinic and the services they offer. Now, what you really want to show up is if you were to type up pricing. Let's try and get the AI to show up, because it's quite nice when that happens. Let's see if I can do that. Or prices. Let's try that. Here we go. So as you can see here, we've got a page on how much does CMS cost, obviously, because we want to make sure, and if you know anything about me, I make sure that's a standard for every website that I build. Inspired TMS Denver in Broomfield offers the rates, standard TMS 5, yeah, it offers that cost, and it's got, you know, multiple pages. Oh no, okay, so it's providing one page here and then other branded pages on that, but at least we've got that specific page on costs, right? And that's something that you want to make sure. We've also got videos on it too, right? And that's something that you want to make sure is on your site. So we're already kind of finding slight vulnerabilities in this clinic's content. Now by vulnerabilities I mean things that we can then improve upon if you were to run some kind of, I don't know, development, you know, website design or SEO campaign, right? Now I haven't made any notes on this design or the site. I've only just briefly looked at it, so it's all kind of off the cuff right now. Some of the first things, I'm not going to be talking about the actual, you know, there are things, and if you are a website designer, which most likely you are, if you're interested in website design, you already kind of probably notice certain things like this is moving too fast, you can barely read the reviews, and the reviews aren't really very detailed. They could be a lot more detailed in terms of, you know, you could have 3 good, really nice reviews from 3 different people in detailed about, you know, the client, the clinic. So I mean, where are they getting these reviews from? Because they're not on Google or Yelp. So that's another thing where I'd be interested to see where these are coming from. But really, you want to have a kind of style that looks like, I'll show you an example of something of a website that I'm building currently for a different clinic. So when you scroll down here, what we've done is we've provided in-depth reviews and links to where they've come from, and they're actually, you know, useful reviews that people can sit and read. Okay, and they're actually featured on each one of our service pages, right? We've even gone to the extra mile to provide specific reviews on specific services on specific pages, right? So we've got, this one will be around accelerated TMS, we'll have another one on this one for OCD treatment, another one for medications, Spravato, or ketamine therapy, and then we've got that there. That's the first thing people see, and as you scroll down, we've got more reviews down here. So testimonials, right off the bat, that's something that I would look at adjusting. Now, the next part would be the content itself. Now, I like this. I like the way that they've done, this content here. This is quite nice because obviously this is relating to the user that's landing on the page. So really think about who's actually landing on this, and how are they thinking, and what is kind of pain points that they have, and here are some solutions around that, which is nice. It can be conveyed in a different way rather than a kind of bullet pointed list of information, because this is all, I don't really want to read any of this because it doesn't really, it's not packaged in a way that's appealing to me, and they all kind of just looks like text content on a page that's not really standing out. And I know that's probably quite a vague way of explaining it. The best way I can show this to you is showing you an example of how I've done this for another site, right? So I would do it more kind of like this. So I'd have specific boxes, specific features on each treatment, or each specific reason as to why we're different or what we offer. Now you've got that here. This is quite nice, but it can be broken up into almost like a style like this, right? I can show you another example of this as well. Well, another example is as to what I did that you could probably do for this. This is quite nice. Maybe something more, because I like the way you're thinking in terms of the content. You're thinking about, okay, so who's landing on the site? Who are the sort of people that we're targeting? This is kind of my thought process behind this section here, because it's another kind of, it's a next step for someone who's already tried antidepressants and tried therapy. Here's a new treatment that you can use, that you can try, and we've done that here. So there's slight similarities between this and that, right? But that's kind of the way I would format it. I think there's definitely some formatting issues here. All of this content is very bunched up. It's all the same color. Nothing really stands out to me except from these kind of panels here. But even then, they all are the same. Very strange kind of spacing as well. I don't really know what's going on there. But I'm not going to talk about that too much because they're more design issues, right? One thing I did want to speak to you guys about though, one thing I really wanted you to take away from this is I'm going to add this to my Facebook group. But and if you are part of that, well, lucky you can have a copy. If you aren't part of it, please do join, because I'll leave a link in the description below. This is something that I want all of you to consider on your websites, right? How to establish trust. And this is something that is almost like a checklist, I guess. Well, it is a checklist. Something to consider when looking at your website, right? Now, I want you to think about this homepage and what have we really seen that's given us much information around this company, right? We haven't really seen much of these aspects. Now, I want to give you another one as well. I want to provide you another document here, which is what prospects care about. So what am I going to get? How much is it going to cost? And all these different specific questions that need to be answered on your website as quick as possible. And this is something that I consider when building all of the companies, or all of the businesses' websites that I build, right? I think about this, right? So we make sure that there's a specific section on cost, why you should choose us, right? Let me go back to the homepage. Because really a homepage is something where people land on it and then they direct to a different page, right? They click on a button, they go to the page that they want. based on the information they've clicked on, right? They want to be directed to the information that they want to learn about. So talking about the features, you know, if we're looking at this here, right? What am I going to get? How much is it going to cost? How little of my time will it take? What hassle will be involved? What little risk will be involved? What about question A, B, C? Right. So, who is this company? You know, what am I going to get? You know, more on this, the services that we offer, pricing, insurance, talk about specific costs straight away, the testimonials, more information around the different services that we offer, a quiz to actually figure out which treatment is right for you, and then providing some kind of lead magnet, which is a free consultation. You don't always have to necessarily offer a free consultation, but it could be, you know, a free quiz or a free guide or a free 15-minute phone call, whatever it may be. That's something that I would look at involving on your website. But yeah, coming back to this, I'm not going to go through each and every individual aspect of these because that'll take forever. But please just make a note of these because they're really useful, and you look at them, you know, use them to look at your own website, because I do too, right? And I believe that they're very useful. Again, one area I just noticed there, high quality images and things like that. You know, this is just all stock imagery, which I see on a lot of medical websites, right? You want real photos of the clinician, of the clinic, of the patients. Stop using stock photography, right? You know, there's an element of almost kind of distrust there, I believe, with using stock photos. I know it's hard. I know if you don't have photos, then what are you going to use? But you know, you've got to consider that option, right? It doesn't have to be massively professional. Just has to be like, instead, you know, some nice photos of the clinician. I know that they've got, here we go, we've got some photos of the team in here, which are great, and we can probably utilize, you know, I would utilize these on the homepage, styles of these photos. But then moving on to more the services pages, coming from an SEO perspective, right? One thing I want to say is really well done on the call to action. So there's a call to action above the fold. When I land on the page, the first thing I see is a call to action, which a lot of companies miss, right? So that's brilliant. So we've got call to actions on each service page, and we've also got a button up here, which personally I think could be improved. I don't think you want to, you know, if someone's looking for a phone number, you don't want them to have to click on it and find the phone number, which is quite small anyway. You want to have the phone number clearly stated in the header along with a button. So I mean, we've offered a free consultation on this page, but that's something that I would look at doing. Now, in terms of an SEO perspective, if we're really looking at the keyword research of this site, now we're ranking for, obviously there's 64 people visiting the site every month. We're ranking for 87 keywords. Are these keywords really relevant? I mean, the only one I can see here, psychologist, Garden City, position 66. Are these keywords really relevant in providing real clientele to the website, right? Now, what do I mean by that? I mean by, you know, are we trying to rank for keywords that are possibly, you know, behavior chart, right? Say, for example, I mean, it's very vague. Tons and tons of people will be searching that up every day, or 8,100 to be exact. None of them are going to be looking, well, I mean, I'd be surprised if a small percentage may be looking for a psychiatrist in New York or in Garden City, right? So you see where I'm going with this. The current keywords, the reason why there's probably not many clients or leads coming to the website is because the keyword targeting is all over the place, right? And that's fine. You know, I mean, that happens with a lot of websites, right? You know, the content isn't really directed at anything. I mean, it's good if, I guess, you're a client and you're coming directly to the website because you know the company, right? But if you're really looking for a psychiatrist in Garden City or in New York, you know, these pages aren't really going to be working very hard for you. And we can tell that by looking at the keyword research. And the reason why is because there's things like take off your mark, you know, let down your guard, things like this. I mean, this is good, but it's not. Let me show you an example of a company. Let me just type up. Let me find one of their keywords, right? And I'll show you what I'm talking about. The kind of ideal process of a service page that's going to work hard for you, almost like a full-time salesperson, right? You've probably heard that before. You know, you want your service pages to be working around the clock, pulling in leads, right? So counseling for children. Okay. Let me do, yeah, we're in New York. Cool. And we can actually see what sort of pages are ranking, you know, in the area. See, I've clicked on this one. Here we go. Or I don't know. Let's try a few different options. Say, let's go back to the first page. Counselling for children. Let's just do NY. Okay. Not a big fan of that page. Let me find it back. Here we go. Now, not an amazing example, but you can already sort of see that we're using location keywords. Now that would be something that I would start from. So actually really providing information, you know, text content. Oh, let me find a better one, right? Child. Yeah, here we go. Right. I quite like this layout. It's quite nice. Child and adolescent therapy in New York City. Okay, so that's, I'm assuming, is a H1, which in technical terms is what Google will read when they're looking at your page and they're deciding which pages to rank. One of the first things that they'll look at is your H1 tag, right? So child and adolescent therapy in New York City. Therapy for children, I mean, yeah, they probably stuffed some of the location in there quite a lot, but you kind of see where I'm going with this, right? They've structured the page in a way that's easy to consume, easy to digest, right? You don't have 3 sections all going on at once. You can specifically read the information as you scroll down. I don't really know where to start with all 3 of these sections, okay? And they don't really, you know, I quite like, you really want styles. You want a style that's straight to the point, types of therapy, how we can help, pricing, success rate, the different types of therapy we offer, what I chart. I mean, they've obviously added some more content on here to really rank their page, but fair enough to them, okay? And that's really the way you want to do it. And I'm going to show you another example of a client of mine that I'm building. This page isn't available yet, but let's say psychotherapy, because that's similar, very, very much so. We land on the site, we've got call to action, psychotherapy, so we know exactly what's happening there. It doesn't have to be as wordy as this. Oh, well, counselling, okay, that's okay, that's fine. Yeah, counselling for children. I was talking about, you know, the home page. There's a lot of words there. It just needs to be snappy. It needs to be simple. You know, proven treatments, real results. Let me show you where to go next, right? So coming back to the psychotherapy page, we've got the form, we've got the call to action, and we've got specific reasons, quick reasons as to why this is the right service for them. A specific testimonial that is unique to that service, right? I know this is, I mean, we've discussed this before, this is more conversion rate optimization, but in terms of the actual content itself, from an SEO perspective, this is what's going to rank, right? So mental health psychotherapy in Connecticut. Okay, so we've got the keyword there, and we've got, you know, more keywords around here. And then we move on to what can it treat, how effective is it compared to other therapies and our other treatment options, what if I need medications, is it covered by insurance? We're looking at pricing, and then what to expect at our clinic, right? So this is really how you want to structure your page and your content, because this is the questions that people will be asking. You know, think about your customer, think about, okay, what are they going to be wanting to know, right? What are they really going to be wanting to know? Things like, is it right for them? How much is it? Yeah, I guess, is it the right therapy? Things like that. Okay, so I'm not, I'm not an expert on it, like what content is, people are looking at for specifically counselling for young adults, but I'm sure there's a list of questions that come up when people contact them, and they need to be answered on the page. Okay, and these are nice. I mean, but this can be all condensed and structured in a much better way. And then what you want to have is real reasons as to why you should pick us. You can continue to sell your service at the bottom of the page. You know, why choose us, patient reviews, more information around pricing. I'm not going to keep going on because I know we've already talked about a lot of opportunities here that can be addressed, but then you can then move on to things like interactive quizzes, like we've got here. We've got specific quizzes to find out, okay, which treatment is right for us. We've got specific pages on pricing guide and reviews because they are the most common questions. But yeah, so I hope that kind of gives you a bit of information around, or a bit of an idea of around how I would improve this website just by having a look at it, right? Now, there are certain things that are great about this site, and I haven't checked the mobile view. There's a lot, there's already a lot to digest within, what I've talked about, but there are things like the call to actions and stuff like that. But there's also a lot of improvements that can be made. I mean, even down here, this is very small. It shouldn't be. You should have real information at the bottom, clearly specifying what maybe even having a map, having a name, address and phone number. I know they've got the social media there, which is great, but also having a form, some kind of offer if possible. That's what we've got down here. But anyway, thank you very much, Bob, for letting me audit your site. I do really appreciate it. I hope that helps you guys, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.